But one day, we got a call from a family member whose daughter in Mexico had been placed in the hospital because her husband beat her up. My daughter was shocked. She was really upset, saying, I'm doing all this work to help here and I cannot help my family. And therefore, Amor del Bueno was born in Mexico.
Thanks for joining us today, Olga. If you could tell us what was the spark that led to the creation of Amor del Bueno and how has it evolved over the years?
Great question. My daughter, Sofia Milan-Howells, she is the co-founder of Amor del Bueno. She was involved in an organization in the United States called One Love. It came about, she watched a film that prompted us for her to realize that one of her best friends was in a very toxic relationship, but it wasn't a physical relationship, it was a mental abuse. And I have noticed that she had lost a lot of weight. She became anorexic. And I recall going one time and asking, hey, why are you dieting? What is this? You look ugly, so skinny. And my daughter just went, and I went, I don't know, I did something wrong. So then when we were exposed to this movie from the One Love organization, she was like, oh my God, my best friend is in one. And she right away approached the One Love organization and became the youngest ambassador for the One Love. So she volunteered, she did a lot of work and helped get her best friend out of this very toxic relationship. We lived in San Miguel de Allende. I'm originally from Mexico. I'm from Guadalajara. But we lived here in San Miguel de Allende. My daughter and my son came. They were born in the States, but they were educated in El Seno. They came to school here.
Okay, thank you. And for someone who doesn't know the organization at all, how would you describe Amor del Bueno and the work you do?
Okay. Amor del Bueno, first I'd like to explain what Amor del Bueno is. Amor del Bueno means real love. And it's a play on word because unfortunately in our society, especially in a very male-dominated society, the normalization of toxic behavior, it's endemic. And to me, it's a very critical and often overlooked public health issue where the lack of emotional education really leads to horrible consequences, broken families involved basically constantly in a domestic violence that it gets perpetuated generation to generation. And it's if you don't have that emotional education, it will continue. So we need to break the cycle. And going back to the original question, Amor del Bueno came about because my son did a movie where we showed that a person who's very, where we show you that the confusion between love and control, passion and possession. So basically in our culture, I remember very clear when I was growing up, they would say, when someone will complain that it was in a toxic relationship, and, oh, he's so jealous and so possessive. Ay, ese es amor del bueno. That's real love, because if he's not possessive and if he doesn't, is so jealous, that means he doesn't care.
All right. Yeah.
So they used to confuse or normalize this behavior with real love, with amor del bueno. Es que ese es amor del bueno. The other phrase that I repeated myself until I became aware with our program, my daughter educated me, saying like, pégame pero no me ignores. Hit me but don't ignore me. And you grow up with that. And you don't really, and that's what I find this to be a critical, very often overlooked public health issue, because we normalize this behavior. And it's not, thousands of kids in Mexico grow up with that kind of concept. And they grow up without knowing what a real love or a real amor del bueno is. They basically confuse that. And it's not because they don't love them. It's because no one has taught them the difference between healthy and unhealthy relationships.
Sure.
And the consequences, as I mentioned, are horrific, because also in many cases, if you leave it unchecked, it leads to femicide that we all know. It's pretty endemic in our very male-dominated society.
Yeah. And what are the biggest challenges Amor del Bueno face right now?
Our biggest challenge is funding because we have been very successful. We have a great program called Train the Trainers. And what we're doing is an educational, peer educational model that we're training people to replicate our work. But it has been so successful that we are now in Universidad de Guanajuato con Equidad de Género. We are here in León, in San Miguel de Allende, and we have like a whole list of schools that we need to get to. But the funding is the biggest challenge. We've been very lucky because our program, once the directores, the school knows about it, they really like it. And they call us. The problem is the funding, as I'm sure many nonprofits.
Exactly. Yes, for sure. And could you share a recent success story that really illustrates the impact of the work that you do?
Yeah. When my daughter did this particular workshop, one of them was this girl was asked to evaluate the program, and she was so excited, saying, "Oh my God, my sister, shh," because she was being interviewed in her house to have like a kind of what we're doing now, and she goes, "She's next door, shh, but she's in a toxic relationship. I'm going to take my parents. She's really her boyfriend, you know," because we show a film where he acts like her father. And then in one of them was like, "Hey, you know, he's your boyfriend, not your dad." And she goes, "It's like that. It's like that." She was so excited. And it was so cute. And in other situations, a lot more sad. This young girl approached my daughter and said, "You know what? I am in real problem. My boyfriend tried to choke me last night." So, you know, it's really sad to hear these things. Then we need to canalize them. We know where to send them to get help.
And so what was the outcome of that particular case?
We usually, because we don't have the resources, we would love to have the resources to find out what happened to her. We have our psychologist talks to them and gives them resources so they refer to the different institutions that can help them. Unfortunately, I don't have the staff. I don't have the resources to find out what actually happened.
Yeah, understand. If someone is watching this and wants to help, obviously donations are a key part of any nonprofit, but can they do anything? Can they get involved with the organization?
Thank you for the question. Right now, we want to make sure that our organization outlives me and my daughter, because right now, most of the funding, 90%, 95% comes from our family. You know, the San Miguel Allende Foundation has been wonderful to us. He helped us with produce some of the videos, the educational materials. They've been great. And 100 Mujeres gave us a grant. So we bought a computer and we got a big screen to take it to the comunidades because they don't even have audiovisual aids. So we have some help. But also, I need an advisory board, people who really care and have passion for this mission to come. We need to have someone that can help us with strategy. As I mentioned, we're growing a little too fast and, you know, sometimes we feel overwhelmed because we can't satisfy the needs. So it will be great to have someone that can help us benefit us with our wisdom, voluntariado, you know, help us strategize and maybe do like a nice fundraising event, give us their time, you know, their energy to help us manage a little more our growth.
Great. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you for your time.
And by the way, if you want to know about us, it's Amor del Bueno, which means real love in Spanish, and it's Amor, A-M-O-R, D-E-L B-U-E-N-O. amordelbueno.org.
.org.
.org.
Fantastic. Okay, that'll be on the screen.